All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Birds on the Farm. As always, I'm Sandy. This is Kareem, my co host. We're so excited. We got a ton of exciting stuff to talk about today, just like always. And we're going to start with some talk about the Big League Club. Now, we're going to give out our monthly awards later. We're hoping to take some Q&A today. So throw your questions in the chat, whatever burning questions that you need Megamind, Kareem over here to answer. Like, we're ready to go. Let's do this. But we're just going to start off right now with some glaze time for Michael McGreevy, right? I mean, come on. He got finally a chance to pitch at the big league level this year, and it was nothing short of electric. He came into a huge high leverage situation in what I would describe as a very important game for this Cardinals team early in the year, right? You lose that game, you drop a series at home, you lose 6 out of 7 to the Mets on the season, which would have been brutal. But McGreevy pulled it out, saved the bullpen as well, which is awesome considering they've played 2 doubleheaders in the last week. Really needed a guy to just get in there and do his thing, and he did a fantastic job. So, Kareem, what can we take from this start from McGreevy? I know a lot of people are clamoring to get him into the rotation. Why is that not going to happen as well? Let's just break it all down right here.
Yeah, what a performance by McGreevy.
Seriously.
And he's just been tremendous to start his MLB career. Last year at the end of that season, pitched really well, and I would have liked to see him get an opportunity to start with the big league team. But when you don't trade in Eric Fetty, when you keep Miles Michaelis, and you have 6 names in the rotation right now, it's obviously tough to make that spot for him, although we all want to see it. But yeah, I think that McGreevy should get an opportunity to pitch, but it's just a tough situation right now considering the Cardinals kept Eric Fetty. You don't want to move him out of the rotation right now and completely tank any sort of value that he has. You want to still get some of that return on investment at the deadline. And Palante, I know some people have thrown around the idea of moving Palante to AAA and having McGreevy take that step up and pitch at the major league level. But I think Palante has shown that he can handle being a starting pitcher at the next level, and he's still young. He's still controllable, cheap pitcher that you want to see in the rotation. And I know that he might not be pitching the way that he's capable of so far this year, but I think it's too early in the season to pull the plug there. And I know, opportunities will arise eventually, whether it be an injury or following the trade deadline. But I think Palante still deserves to be in the rotation for now. We'll see what it looks like in these next few starts. But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals put themselves in this situation, which is unfortunate. I think McGreevy's ready for the major league level. Every time he's been given that opportunity, he's pitched at he's been awesome. I mean, 1.57 ERA in 28 and 2/3 innings. In that just one appearance that he had the other game that he pitched, he had a 0.8 RWAR in just one appearance, which is crazy.
It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with everyone. I want to see this guy pitch at the major league level, but it's just tough considering what the rotation is right now. You don't want to just move certain guys out of that rotation and lose any sort of value that they have when it comes to trade deadline time. And in Palante's case, I think we need to see a little bit more there for him to be sent down. I think that he's still pitching decently, not at the level, like I said, that we want to see, and the way he pitched towards the end of last year. But I still think that he should be in the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. And I've complained in the past about the Cardinals being overly reactionary about things like this. I mean, how many times have we seen some young player come up, they succeed, and then the Cardinals immediately expect the entire world of them? And when they don't deliver, because young players don't deliver, development is not always linear. It's hard. It's really hard to play Major League Baseball, as I'm sure fans understand, right? How many times have we seen the Cardinals do that, though? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're not figuring it out, and it's been bad for 2 weeks, so we're sending you down. And I've complained about it dozens of times in the last few years. So I've decided that with Andre Palante, look, he's your guy. I mean, what other Cardinals starter can you name since Jack Flaherty, really, that's had a sustained run of success like Palante had as a homegrown guy? Dakota Hudson, that's the best. That's the best guy they've developed since 2019. Because Flaherty came up in 17, I think, right? End of 17. The Cardinals have not developed homegrown pitching talent. And you finally find someone like Andre Palante that you really luck into, right? This is a guy you pigeonholed into a relief role. You're going to throw him in the bullpen. You finally got him. He's pitching well all of last year as a start. Well, not all, but for 4 months last year as a starter. The worst thing to do is to show that guy you don't have any confidence in him. If he's part of your future, you just need to ride with him. It's really frustrating too, because the Cardinals are so reactionary about young players like this. And yet we see Dexter Fowler get seasons to work through stuff. We see, pick a guy, right? Miles Michaelis the last 2 years, it's not good. It's not good. And he's getting all the time in the world to work through it. Eric Fetty has been way worse than Andre Palante this year. And I'll argue with anybody who disagrees with me. I think Eric Fetty's been awful. Eric Fetty is walking the house, and he's a guy that you had bigger expectations for than Palante, in my opinion. He's been terrible. And the Cardinals are going to let him work through whatever he needs because, the value and the window demands that. But you've got to let Palante work through this. It's unfortunate. It stinks. The Cardinals are in this position because of what they did this offseason or what they didn't do this offseason, right? If you were going to get McGreevy a spot, it meant clearing a third spot for a young starter because they decided to put Liberatore in. That's a happy surprise. It's working out really well. I'm very excited about what Libby's done. They decided they were going to run with Palante. That's 2 spots there that you now have reserved for your young arms. If you wanted McGreevy, you needed to create a third. They aren't able to do that right now. There's not a lot of trade momentum. I mean, I think they should be shopping a guy like Steven Matz right now. I just don't know if anything's going to come together. I think teams are stupid for not making trades in May and June, right? Like, if you have a need and a team is shopping a guy, you can get 8 extra starts out of that guy by trading for him in May. Teams don't do that. They like to wait till the deadline, whatever. But that's where we're at right now. They didn't trade Fetty. They didn't get rid of Michaelis. They didn't trade Matz. And so this is where you are. You didn't trade Gray. Not that you should have, but you didn't. And so there's just no way to work McGreevy into this. It stinks, but he's going to go back to AAA. It's not, but people are confusing this. I think they're conflating McGreevy's lack of opportunity with his skill level or his performance. And it's not like he has anything else to prove. We know that McGreevy has proven everything. He's been incredibly durable at the minor league level for the last 2 years. He's been very effective when he's had chances at the major league level. He's got nothing left to prove. The Cardinals just need to finally clear some space for him. So I don't know. It's going to take some time. When do you think we're going to see McGreevy finally get a real extended run?
TBD. I think continue to watch, how Palante is pitching. If he's really starting to get roughed up and
it's bad, I understand.
If it gets bad, I think they could just make that switch. But if not, obviously an injury would have to take place. But assuming everyone stays healthy, I think potentially until the trade deadline and they move one of these assets, or like you said, maybe even before the trade deadline, they can make a trade, but we'll see. I do think that at some point this year, he will be penciled in to start, every 5-6 games, whatever.
Nice.
But Cardinals fans, I think we have to just wait a little bit till we get to that point, but I think that's okay. I'm not, it's obviously would like to see him in the rotation to begin with. I personally thought he should have broke with the team in the rotation, but he's still going to get his opportunity some point this year if he stays healthy. And I think that when the Cardinals end up inevitably trading 1 or 2 of these starting pitchers in their current rotation, I think that's probably when we'll see him promoted full-time to the major league level as a starter.
Yeah. Hey, there's one more guy we got to talk about before we start giving out our awards, and that's Gordon Graceffo. Let's talk about him, okay? He picked up another win last night. He's now 2-0 on the season, which is kind of exciting. Good for him. Very fun. It looks like he's found some extra velocity. People are talking about, hey, Graceffo touched 99 the other night. What are you seeing here, and how does this change things with Graceffo? I know people were talking about him flaming out a little bit, and it's kind of been a rough 2 years developmentally for him, but is he finding a home in the bullpen?
Look, it was just 1 inning, but he sat 98 to 99 miles an hour on his heater in in that 5th inning of his bullpen appearance. I think he closed out the game much like McGreevy. But yeah, velocity has been up this year a tick. And if Graceffo pitches in relief, assuming he goes like 1 to 2 innings and he's full on, going 100%, we could see that velocity creep up into high 90s. And we saw that in that appearance against the Reds. So that's obviously got to be exciting, Sandy, when we're talking about a guy that can get up to 99 miles an hour on his heater. The shape might not be particularly great, but velocity is king. If you're getting up
at that point,
at 98, 99 miles an hour, that pitch is going to play up, which obviously is one of the reasons why I've always liked Gordon Graceffo. I think his stuff could play out in a bullpen, and we saw that. Even like the off speed and breaking stuff with a velocity uptick, the slider getting to like around 93, the curveball mid 80s with a ton of depth. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to dream on when his velocity is up. And we saw that at the major league level so far this year. And hopefully, much like McGreevy, he can get an opportunity. I'm not as bullish on him being a starter as a Michael McGreevy, but if the Cardinals do end up trading a few pitchers, I mean, their pitching depth in the organization is not looking great right now. So I think after a McGreevy, I think Graceffo probably would be the next guy up to get an opportunity. And I've liked what I've seen this year. Not, like I said, not 100% sure if this is someone that's going to be best suited as a starter long term. I think that if his velocity is up out of the bullpen, I think that is going to be a lot better for his profile, but we'll see. I was very impressed by him, especially, in that appearance against the Reds where he got up to 99.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think for now it's great to see him working as an effective reliever, and maybe there is some Andre Palante route type thing here where the Cardinals are able to use him as a reliever. And then at some point, if he wants to go back to starting, or if the organization thinks, well, you're still a high octane, talented arm, we might be able to throw you back into that at some point. But right now, like, the bullpen needs the help, and it's just good to see him stepping up and getting it done. So, I mean, super excited about that. And here, a quick comment here from Samuel. I want to get your take on this as well. Do you think Kyle Leahy gets a shot to start next year? Not right now. Kyle Leahy is the best reliever on the team right now. He's been absolutely electric. Honestly, you're one Kyle Leahy away from being like 6 games under 500 at the moment. Arguably the team MVP thus far. Like, you could make a case for it. But what do you think about that? Do you think they give him a chance next year?
There could be a lot of open opportunities for the rotation next year. Just think about all the names that are probably not going to be penciled in. Eric Fetty is going to be a free agent, right? Steven Matz is going to be a free agent. Miles Michaelis is going to be a free agent. There's going to be opportunities for some of these young guys, I think, to potentially carve a spot in the rotation. I do envision the Cardinals adding some more competition. I don't think they're going to, let go of those 3 names I said and bring absolutely no one in free agency. I think that we'll at least see some depth and some insurance, but I do think, Kyle Leahy was stretched out in spring. I think that going into next year, he will probably be stretched out in spring once again. And I think he'll probably have more of a legitimate chance to carve out a role this time around. And like what I've seen so far, I think the 2-seamer, developing that pitch has been huge. He's been commanding that pitch very, very well in the inner third to right-handed hitters. And, I think Leahy definitely has the arsenal to be able to start. I know that if you look at some of his numbers down in the minor leagues when he was previously a starter, they might not have been stellar, but I think he's developed his arsenal a lot since that time. So I am curious to see what it looks like. And I do think that he will potentially have the chance to be a starter next year. We'll see what happens in that regard, and what the Cardinals end up doing in free agency to help out, because there's going to be some guys added to the roster. I don't think that they're just going to let go of Michaelis and Matz, and
I think you're right.
They're probably going to bring someone else in. So Yeah, but I do think he'll be stretched out once again, and probably has more of a shot to actually carve out a starter role this time around.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's good to see him stretched out right now because they've been able to use him in these multi-inning appearances, which is awesome. You know, he's been a Swiss Army knife in the bullpen, and he really does just step up whenever they need anything done right now. And yeah, he's just been such a versatile weapon for them. And this is absolutely true from Redbird Farmhands here. Like, it's almost not fair to compare Leahy now to Leahy then. Even if you just take a cursory glance at his baseball savant page, his arsenal has changed completely. He's added at least 2 pitches since the last time he was starting on a regular basis. That's a changeup and that two seamer or that sinker. You know, like, this is not the same guy. You know, that accounts for 20% of the pitches he's throwing, which weren't even available to him back then. He's also decreased his reliance on that four-seam fastball. Like, this is an entirely different pitcher, you know?
The sweeper, which is, I think, his
Yeah.
best pitch,
Yeah.
is also a newer addition to his arsenal. I believe in 2023 he started experimenting with that, and we
Hmm.
haven't really seen him, throw that as a starter yet. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's an entirely different guy right now, which is why I think it's so encouraging. And it is good to see the Cardinals have made some interesting choices with giving real opportunities to their most talented arms. And so that's why I agree with you. I think next year there's going to be a chance for him. And I think that's something that Cardinals fans can already start getting excited about. All right. Well, that's enough talk about the major league roster. They're in a good spot right now. Obviously, we're super excited for tonight's game. But let's just get into our April players of the month, right? So we're going to go level by level, starting with AAA, working our way down the system. Kareem, who do we have for our pitcher of the month for the Memphis Redbirds?
we're going with right-handed pitcher Andre Granillo.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, I know we've talked about him a lot on this podcast, but
Stud.
it seems like he's actually, breaking out in a huge way. And I think we'll see him at some point this year. The Cardinals bullpen certainly needing some help, and he's been awesome to watch down in Memphis. So in 6 games, 10 innings pitched in April, he allowed just 5 hits and 1 earned run, and he had 15 strikeouts to 4 walks. So performed at a really great level. And I think he's carried over that success over to May. I think the command and control so far this year has been a lot sharper than what we've seen in the past, especially last year. 14.9% walk rate is down to 7.1%. I think that he's made some arsenal tweaks. His slider, which is, his clear best pitch, he's relying on it more against lefties and is finding a lot more success, actually. The usage of it was 26% in 2024, and it's up to close to 40% so far this year, and has a 66.7% whiff rate in those matchups. And, the changeup, we've talked about that pitch. I think it's very underrated, underappreciated in his arsenal. All the talk with him is the slider, but I think that he does such a great job at generating arm side run on that pitch to complement his fastball, which is more of a cut ride shape. So having a very, very strong tunnel for that changeup, and that pitch has played very well against lefties. The usage is about the same as what it was last year, but just executing more, commanding the pitch a lot sharper than what we had seen in the past. And last year, left-handed hitters had an on-base percentage of 412 against him, and so far this year, it's 222. So I think that's huge. Being able to control his pitches in those matchups, feel for that slider against lefties, the changeup, finding the success that he has so far. It's been fun to watch, and Granillo will definitely be someone I think gets a shot to pitch at the major league level at some point this year. I know he's not on the 40 man, but I do think that eventually, some point this year, a spot does open up for him, and he'll get that shot to pitch and join this Memphis shuttle.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to see him relatively soon, right? If you're the Cardinals, you've got to go to this guy eventually. He's just been a stud this year. And I don't think people appreciate enough the strikeout stuff that Granillo has. Okay. Like, I feel like when I've heard Granillo's name thrown around, people have talked about him as if he's like some pitch to contact type reliever. Like, this is not, I love John King, but this is not John King. Okay. Like, Granillo's got a 14.2 K per 9 this year, and that's not even that out of line with his career norm. Like, over parts of 5 seasons in the minors, this is a guy that struck out over 12 batters per 9 innings. Now, walks have been a problem, but he's limiting the walks this year. And by doing that, he's giving himself way more opportunities to succeed. He's got 21 strikeouts and 13 innings on the year. Like, this guy's been an absolute stud. So I think the Cardinals do need to go to him as soon as possible, quite frankly. I'd love to see him at the major league level. I don't know how realistic that is with the 40-man crunch. Can you hear me? Is my mic working right now? All right, yeah. I was just saying, I don't know when the Cardinals will go to him, uh, but I'd love to see them go to him sooner rather than later. I think he's a star or a stud. I think he's a great reliever. I think he's someone that they need to look at now. Who's your position player of the month for Memphis?
Shortstop, center fielder Jose Barrero recently got called up. And Barrero yesterday, I mean, you talk about, 2-hit performance, double, home run, made a sliding catch or sliding play at shortstop. Barrero's always had the tools to be a productive major leaguer, but this is someone, former top 100 prospect, number 33 on Baseball America's top 100 in their pre-2022 ranking, but never seemed to get on the right footing at the major league level. Parts of 4 seasons with the Reds, he slashed 186, 242, 255, which was good for a 31 WRC plus. Is my mic not working?
No, I think you're good now.
Okay.
I think mine screwed some up for a second, but I think we should be all good.
All right. Yeah, I was just looking at the comment. Yeah, since his major league debut, it's been a roller coaster run for him. Not only at the major league level, but in the minor leagues, he's been up and down. Had some solid seasons, but some years where he just couldn't hit at all. And so far, I mean, he's been productive at AAA. Obviously, getting that call up, and in his short time at the major league level, he's been fun to watch so far. And it's always cool to watch guys that have a ton of tools. Barrero obviously can't. It's hard to be too optimistic about a guy that in the past, in 4 seasons, he didn't do a whole lot at the major league level.
Yeah.
Like 31 WRC plus and over 400 plate appearances. I mean, that's not great. But Barrero has the tools to be a solid player. I mean, he's got the athleticism. His top end exit velocities are very impressive. And it's cool to see him carve out a role in the major leagues, at least so far, as a bench guy, and with his versatility to play a shortstop and center field, that's obviously valuable on a big league bench. And yeah, hopefully he can continue this success and carve out a steady role as an option on the bench, because he's got a lot of electric traits in his game. He's fast. He's got some sneaky pop. He's a good defender. So it would be a cool story too, considering, his first time around in the major leagues wasn't great in his 4 seasons. And, but yeah, I do think that he's more of a bench guy, but even then, if he ends up carving a role as a bench player in the major leagues, I mean, that's big.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a great find by the Cardinals. And whenever you see a guy like Barrero who's got that prospect pedigree, right? I mean, Baseball America ranking him just outside their top 30 only a couple of short years ago. Like, that's got to be interesting to any team. So obviously, evaluators saw something in him back then, and it's not like, or at least you hope it's not like the guy just forgot all those tools. Like you said, it's been rough at the major league level. But look, I mean, it's fun to watch him right now. I'm sure you saw the play he made the other night at shortstop. Like, that was super encouraging, really fun stuff. It was just electric. It's great. And it really feels good to have someone like that behind Mason Wynn instead of Brandon Crawford. Maybe that's just me. I was sick of watching Brandon Crawford last year. I was done. And it's nice to know that on days where they've got to give Wynn a rest, because the Cardinals want Wynn to play 162 games, but it's not going to happen. The back issues are obviously a thing. You need to sit him every once in a while. And knowing you've got a young guy who's going to get out there, he's going to get dirty, he's going to make some great plays, that's good to know. Barrera had a great night. I mean, probably player of the game, very fun to watch. So it's like you said, it's a great story. And look, if he's not an offensive stud, it's not the end of the world, because he can play 2 premium positions and there are two positions where the Cardinals really need the depth. So that's great to see. All right, let's drop down a level now. Let's go to Springfield. Who's our pitcher of the month at Springfield?
Right hand pitcher Takora Roby.
Yes, sir. Come on.
We've talked about him, a few episodes ago, but I just think his fastball looks a lot livelier. And in 4 games started in April, he allowed just 2 runs in 17 innings, had 16 strikeouts to just 6 walks. And I think from a performance standpoint, I think something that caught my eye was just he didn't allow a whole lot of home runs. In 5 starts so far this year, he's only given up 2 home runs.
That's a big
Whereas
step.
last year at the AA level, in 7 starts, he gave up 10 home runs, which, from a damage suppression standpoint, I think that Takora Roby had to, take that next step up, and he's shown that so far. I still think I want to see a little bit more in terms of development and, conviction for his secondaries beyond his fastball and curveball. I think that, his slider and changeup could still use some work and feel. But yeah, I've been encouraged by what I've seen from Roby. This isn't someone that we have to worry about not having, the stuff to play at the next level, which, I mean, it feels like most Cardinals pitching prospects, it's the opposite. It's guys that might have, a complete arsenal, but they don't necessarily have the stuff to,
Yeah, they don't have
be
like
big.
the plus pitches to actually get big league hitters out.
Yeah, in a starter role, and I think Roby, what's great about him, he's shown both. He has a arsenal that I think, like I said, could there be some more growth in terms of the slider and changeup? Sure, but I also think those 2 pitches profile well in terms of stuff. And we know about the fastball and curveball. It's been fun to watch him this year. The Cardinals don't have a ton of their top pitching prospects that are, pitching currently, most of them dealing with injuries. And Brian Holiday recently was also placed on the full season IL. So we won't be seeing the Cardinals, 3rd round pick from last year at all this year, which is disappointing. But hey, I mean, Chenwei Lin made his debut
Needed that.
with Palm Beach. He's on a rehab assignment, and he looked great. The fastball was up to 99, but yeah, back on Takora Roby. He is certainly one of the more exciting arms in the system, and getting to watch him so far this year when there hasn't been a ton of exciting arms to watch, it's been cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good to see him healthy. With Dakota Roby, the big concern has been health the last few years, especially with that shoulder track record. So it's just nice to see him pitching, recording innings, giving us something to talk about. And you're right. I mean, the rest of the system is just injured all up and down. So you need Roby to stay healthy, and he's done everything that they've asked him right now. Do you think he spends the entire year at AA, or could we see him at AAA, or even maybe making a cameo in the bullpen, as some have suggested this year?
I think that as long as he's finding the success, I think he'll get promoted at some time this
Yeah.
year, maybe even sooner than we think. I don't. I think that maybe in a couple months, 2 to 3 months, we could see him at AAA if he's continuing the success. And to answer your second question about him being in the bullpen, I mean, we've seen the Cardinals in the past do it with some of their top starting pitching prospects, right? I don't think they're going to be in a position where they're competing and necessarily need him to pitch at the major league level, but I don't think it would hurt, right? To for him to get some innings at the next level, even in a bullpen role. But obviously, we want Takora Roby to, work out as a starter long term. And with him dealing with some of those injuries that he has in the past, I don't know if moving him from a starter role to a bullpen role would be the best. I'm not sure in that regard, like what they'll do, but I do think we'll see Roby at AAA some point this year if he's performing at the AA level like he has been so far. And yeah, I think 2026 we'll probably see him at some point, hopefully as a starter. But I think that Roby has the stuff to profile as an elite reliever if they so choose to move him to the bullpen, which I don't think they should do at this point, but he has the, I think he has the stuff to really work out as a high leverage arm in the bullpen eventually.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get right back to this discussion and tell you who our position player of the month at AA is after a quick message from two of our sponsors. So 314 is the presenting sponsor of Deal in the Cards and Birds on the Farm. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet, Missouri. They're open 10 to 4 Monday through Friday, or 10 to 6 Monday through Friday, and 10 to 4 Saturday and Sunday. They buy, sell, and trade just about anything you're looking for, whether it's sports cards, Pokemon cards, anything else tradable. They've got the newest selection of packs, boxes, and single cards, whether you're looking for local players like a Michael McGreevy or stars from around the league. I know Andrew's looking for Shohei Ohtani stuff all the time. So they've got it all. Seriously, go check them out. They are so much fun. It really is a great place to shop. Super knowledgeable guys, a ton of fun.
The Deal in the Cards podcast is proud to be partnered with Underdog Sports, our favorite place to play fantasy games. You're now eligible to play in Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, and 37 other U.S. states. You got to check out Pick'em. It's so easy to play. You just pick 2 to 8 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can win 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. If that sounds like fun, sign up with our promo code CARDS to claim your first free pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We can't wait to see your entries.
Yeah, get on Underdog. It's a ton of fun. Use our code CARDS and give it a shot. It's a great time. All right, so back to our discussion here. AA, our position player of the month, is none other than JJ Weatherholt, arguably the most exciting prospect in the system. The guy is electric. He's a 5-tool player. Kareem nailed it when the Cardinals drafted him. How's it been watching him in his first full season?
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
He missed over a week due to the stomach flu. He's back now. But Weatherholt in April, I think we just continued to see why he was so highly touted coming out of West Virginia, why the Cardinals selected him in the 7th round pick. The bat to ball skills, pairing with his exceptional feel for just hitting line drives, going the opposite field. And I know there's still, we've talked about this, not a ton of fly balls, but I think that when he does hit the ball in the air, it's effortless pop to the opposite field when he does, lift the ball. So, yeah, I mean, he was awesome in April, 308, 403, 442 slash line. His strikeout and walk rates were very similar, 11.3% K rate and 9.7% BB rate. I think that, Weatherholt continues to show, like I said, why he's such a top prospect in the game, why he's the Cardinals' top prospect. It's cool to see him just find this success immediately. Sometimes, guys take a little bit of time to get used to the level, but Weatherholt started off and has, been able to hit throughout his AA tenure so far, which has been fun.
Yeah, I mean, a true blue chip prospect, impact player at the next level, someone that Cardinals fans are going to get to watch for a long time. So hopefully he continues to develop, stays healthy this year. Glad he's better from the flu. That always sucks. But great to hear how well he's doing. All right, let's jump down to Peoria now. The Cardinals A advanced affiliate. Who's our pitcher of the month at Peoria?
Right-hand pitcher Hansel Rincon. Rincon isn't someone that I've talked about a lot. In 2023, he pitched in the Florida State League, so we have some of his data. And back then, it wasn't like an overpowering arsenal at all. It was like low 90s. But I think what's impressive about him is just the advanced feel that he has for his 2 off-speed breaking pitches. Yeah. He throws a mid-80s changeup and low 80s slider, both of which have induced a ton of whiffs this year. And his overall whiff rate on the season is up from 25% last year to 34.4% so far this year. And like I said, mostly due to those secondaries. I think that there's going to need to be more development in terms of velocity with someone like a Rincon. He's living around 90, 92 miles an hour on his heater, and it's below average shape too. But so far, at the high A Peoria level, the secondaries are really carrying him. I think that there's probably going to be more development there's probably going to need to be more developing in his stuff to, potentially carve out a role at the major leagues. But he had a great April, and hopefully, we can see him carry on this success to May and, the rest of the season. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let's jump in and talk about his teammate, corner infielder, Michael Curiali. Or is that how you say? Is it Curiali?
I think it's
Curiali. Curiali. All right. Michael Curiali, third baseman and first baseman. He's had quite a start.
Yeah, 273, 365, 527 slash line, 2 home runs, 8 extra base hits. And I think his ISO has jumped from 146 last year to 233 so far this year. And with someone that has more of a power driven profile, he's not going to make a whole lot of contact. But when he does connect, he has shown an ability to show some pop. And so far this year, it's just been a little bit more consistent, which is good to see. But yeah, I think that for him to carry on this success, I think we're just going to have to see him continue to show improved contact quality. And yeah, I think he could be a fun little organization depth piece for the Cardinals.
Are you surprised to still see him at Peoria? I mean, this is the second year he spent at Peoria now, and the Cardinals did give him 2 full seasons at Palm. Well, not full seasons, but they gave him 2 seasons at Palm Beach as well. I thought they'd be a bit more aggressive with him this year, even though he is a depth piece. He's 23 now, and he's almost 24, so I'm kind of surprised they've let him stay in the low minors for so long.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't set the world on fire last year. 92 WRC plus. And like I said, the power production was inconsistent. There were spurts where we saw him, show the power that he has so far this year, but he wasn't able to do that consistently. And like I said, he's more of an organization depth piece. I don't think the Cardinals are so, tied to, progressing this guy at a level where, he's on this major league trajectory,
Yeah, for sure.
So, but if he does continue to perform, I do think that he'll get promoted to AA eventually.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him get a chance to play at the high minors. All right, down to our final affiliate here, and we've saved at least one of our favorite players for last, although both these guys have been really great to start the season. Let's start with the pitcher, and then we'll get into what's going to be a really fun guy when we talk about this position player.
Yeah, Jason Savicul. He's been fun to watch this year. Not a guy much like Rincon. I mean, he's not someone that's going to overpower you with stuff. He just throws the kitchen sink. It's, sinker, four seam, cutter, slider, sweeper, curveball, changeup, a lot of pitches. And it's not just he throws all of them. He uses all of those pitches in his arsenal effectively. It's not like he doesn't have feel for those pitches. And I just think he has an advanced ability to just navigate situations based on, the matchups. He has a very different approach on the mound when he's going up against righties versus, going up against lefties. It's below average stuff across the board, low 90s fastball. The breaking stuff, I think his sweeper is probably his best pitch, but nothing crazy. But he's more so a guy that just keeps hitters off balance with his arsenal. And he's been doing a great job at just managing contact. In 5 starts in April, 24 innings, 16 hits, had a 1.5 ERA, and he had 21 strikeouts to 7 walks, and a lot of ground ball outs, as you would assume, with that contact quality, managing contact profile that he has.
This is another guy who is a bit older for his level. He's almost 23. His birthday is in 2 weeks, so happy early birthday, Jason. But could you see the Cardinals promoting him at some point in the near future, getting him some exposure at the A advanced level, getting into that Florida State League a bit? Or getting out of the Florida State League?
I could. I mean, even last year, he performed at a solid clip. I was kind of surprised that he was sent back down to Palm Beach. But yeah, I do think that he's someone that probably gets to Peoria at some point this year, probably closer in the next, month to 2 months, I would say. He's been very stellar so far to start this season.
Yeah, I mean, he had a 3.62 ERA last year, and though the peripherals weren't awesome, the low strikeout rate, the high walkout rate, he's improved both of those this year, and he hasn't allowed a home run. And I think when I see some improvement like that, which has resulted in huge gains in his ERA, dropping all the way down to 2.25 so far in the year, I think I'd be interested in moving that guy up. So it'd be good to see the Cardinals promote him, see what he's got against some tougher competition. And finally, we've saved the best for last. He's off to a fantastic start. He's the Cardinals minor league player of the month. Kareem, I know you've been waiting for this guy, so let's let's get it.
Yep, Josh Cross. We've talked about him a lot this season.
Yeah, dude, he's been unbelievable.
But yeah, slowed down a little bit of late, but he wasn't going to keep up that video game pace.
Yeah,
Josh Cross is human after all. But yeah, slash 288, 376, 671 in April, 6 home runs, 29 RBIs, 14 extra base hits. It felt like he led the Cardinals minor leagues in all categories. Obviously had the 4-game home run streak and capped it off with a cycle. That's probably the most exciting moment in the Cardinals minor leagues so far this year was, Cross's cycle, especially being able to cap off his 4-game home run streak with it. And I think the biggest thing that stood out to me about Josh Cross so far this year is that he's optimizing his top end exit velocities in the air where he's going to do damage. It's a lot of balls, 25 to 35-degree launch angles where he's going to hit extra base hits. And we've seen that it's manifested in a ton of power numbers so far this year. And I think that he probably has the best game power tool in the Cardinals organization right now. I would like to see him get promoted to Peoria sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think he lasts too much longer at Palm Beach. I think you're going to see this guy start to move through the system. It's a great find for the Cardinals as well. I mean, you think about Josh Cross. He was drafted in the 6th round last year, so not like a day 3 pick or anything like that, but that's great value in the middle rounds. So good to see the Cardinals hit on somebody like that. And I mean, super excited about what he could be this year. Do you think it's almost certain that he finishes the season at the A advanced level, or is there a chance that if he keeps, if he gets up there and hits really well, the Cardinals get aggressive with him, or you think we don't do that?
Never say never.
Yeah. I mean, Quinn Matthews jumped 4 levels last year, but not everyone's Quinn Matthews.
Yeah. I mean, I think Peoria for sure at some point, I would say. But I mean, I wouldn't say it's out of the question that, at the end of the season, if he's killing it at Peoria, that he gets a cup of coffee at Springfield. But I think more than likely we see him at Peoria to finish out his season there. But yeah, I just can't wait to watch him, climb through the system.
Yeah, get this man on a bus to Peoria, dude. Like he's outclassing Palm Beach. Let's get up there. All right. Well, those are our award winners. We'll go through them really quickly one more time. So in Memphis, our pitcher of the month was Andre Granillo, and our position player of the month was Jose Barrero. At the Springfield AA level, we had pitcher of the month Tekoa Roby and position player of the month JJ Weatherholt. At Peoria, the A advanced level, we had right-handed pitcher Hansel Rincon paired with position player, third baseman, and first baseman Michael Curiali. And then finally at Palm Beach, Jason Savacool and first base catcher Josh Cross. So those are your 8 guys taking home the what is this, the very first Birds on the Farm minor league pitcher and hitter of the month awards. So we'll be keeping up with those all season. And then we got a couple cool things to talk about as well. So we've already mentioned some of these things, like, Chen Wei Lin making his rehab assignment. That was great stuff. Michael McGreevy, great start, got optioned. Let's talk a bit about the Ryan Loutos trade. This, for some reason, this like rocked Cardinal Nation. I was surprised. I was like, I think this is a very tangential move. Like it's the edge of the roster. The Cardinals needed to create some space, cash considerations, but I saw some Cardinals fans that were quite upset. So it's probably a good time to talk about that.
I think Cardinals fans are more so upset that he was picked up by the Dodgers.
Agreed. That's 100% what it is.
And they think the Dodgers, hypothetically speaking, if this guy is good enough to be on the Dodgers 40-man roster, he's not good enough to be on the Cardinals 40-man roster. Look, I think more than likely he's probably just going to be a replaceable arm that might honestly get DFA'd in the next month or two. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think the Dodgers, we'll see, what their long-term plan is. I think that there's still stuff in terms of just optimizing his arsenal better. I think his changeup is a good pitch. He needs to rely on it more. I think that they're going to experiment with his breaking ball, I think. And his four-seamer, I think they're going to go more towards, a sinker shape. So we'll see how that all comes together. I still don't think Loutos has, the stuff to be a full-time option in a major league bullpen, but I thought he was fine to have as like a last guy on a 40-man, someone that you could bring in and spell some innings here and there. But I wasn't like losing my horses over Ryan Loutos getting, traded to the Dodgers. And I think Cardinals fans are just going to forget about it in the next, couple months. It's just, something new to talk about, something fresh, and everyone's just going to forget about it.
I think you're 100% right. Also, if you just think about the state of the Dodgers, they got a lot of injuries they're dealing with right now. I mean, Michael Kopech, he's one of their core relievers after that acquisition last year. He's not back. You've got Blake Trinan, who still isn't throwing yet. You've got Glasnow, who's hurt right now. I know Kyle Hurt was hurt, and he's one of their more intriguing relief pitching prospects. So when you've got that many holes right now, it makes sense to go out and just shop for some of these, lower end relievers from other teams. And maybe you get lucky. This is a lottery ticket move for the Dodgers. Maybe you get lucky and he gives you 40 innings in the bullpen this year. I think that's really unlikely. I'm not even sure how likely the odds are that he actually pitches for the Dodgers. It's possible. But if you're the Dodgers, you've got all these guys who are on the 60-day who you're planning on getting back at some point. You need placeholders. You don't need guys that you can't then move off your 40-man roster because it's going to create a crunch. So going after a guy like Loutos that can sit there, provide depth at AAA, maybe pitch at the big league level on that shuttle type thing, but I don't think there's going to be much more than that. So Cardinals fans who were talking about him closing for the Dodgers, don't worry about it. It is not happening. Like, chillax. We're going to be all right. Yeah, it was a trade made before June, Samuel. So I guess it's possible to do those things, but teams generally aren't shopping. Yeah, I mean, we're open for a couple minutes of Q&A here, though. I know we're bumping up against that 50-minute mark. But if anyone's got some questions, we'd love to hear them. I saw someone in here from Ray. There's always draft chatter. I know we've talked about this, the top of this class many times. It's certainly not the best class to be picking in the top 5, so it's a little unfortunate for the Cardinals. We've thrown out some interesting names, right? Arnold, if he falls, would be great, but it's unlikely. I know there's a prep pitcher. It's Seth Hernandez, right? Interested in what he could be, but unlikely that he falls as well. There's always going to be talk around the younger of the Holiday brother, Ethan Holiday. The ceiling's super high, so let's see what we got here, Kareem. Who do you think they'd go with? You don't have to put anything down. This is not an official guess. But as of right now, who would you maybe be leaning towards the Cardinals are going to go after? And who do you want to see him get?
I think this is probably going to end up being the hardest year to just predict.
It's going to be brutal
because they can go a lot of directions. I don't think this is I don't think this is a super top heavy class. And with that, and knowing that the Cardinals have a comp B pick this year, and they actually have a second round pick as well. I think if there's a class where you're going to go under slot with that first pick,
it's a great
I think it's probably this one. I don't think the talent gap between the, 5th best player in this year's class and the 15th is that wide. And if you can save a lot of money and go with a guy that you still really like, I mean, I could see the Cardinals doing that. So it's tough to get a gauge on that. If the Cardinals end up going with best player available, I think more than likely it'll end up being a high school player, high school position player, whether it be, Ethan Holiday. Doesn't seem like he's going to be available at 5, but if he was there, I think the Cardinals would consider him. Eli Willits is generating a lot of steam. He's another prep shortstop that's got a lot of tools. Better bat to ball skills than Holiday, but doesn't necessarily have the power potential that an Ethan Holiday has. Billy Carlson in a similar vein to Eli Willits. I think he's more of a defense first shortstop that he's got a wiry frame that scouts think, he'll be able to add eventually more power to his game. But he seems to be more of a bat to ball guy in a similar vein to Willits. So, I mean, I think if they want to go best player available, I think it'll probably end up being a high school position player, if I had to guess at this point. But they could also choose to just go with a college, player that they really like, and save some money, so they can be aggressive with their second and comp B pick and go after a high school player that falls to them with those selections.
What do you think about Jack Bauer? I just saw that name tossed out in the chat. I did a quick cursory search. Looks like he's topped out at 102 in the last month. What do you think about that? I mean, less polished than some of these other guys, but you can always dream on a lefty that throws over 100 miles an hour.
Absolutely. I know that there's some concerns in terms of just the strike throwing,
Yeah.
but when you have a guy throwing that hard, like I'm pretty sure 102, I mean, that's got to be close to a record for a high schooler, right?
That's insane. And from the left side,
that's
too. Crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, if he's someone, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. If he falls to your, second round or comp B pick, he's more than likely going to be someone that's going to command an overslot bonus. So that's where saving some of that money with your, fifth overall selection comes to play.
Where do you think Bauer would be drafted if the draft happened today? He's not a top 10 talent in this class, you don't think?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think that
really tough.
With prep players of his ilk, I mean, he could be a top first round kind of guy, or he could, fall into that second round comp B conversation. I don't have a good enough idea just yet, but he's ranked, I think, 32nd on MLB Pipeline's list. So I don't know. I think that maybe back end first round, if we're going based on that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you see the Cardinals play with that bonus a little bit, get on the phone with him and say, hey, we're going to be able to go over slot with you. That'd be pretty exciting. Do you think they could go with Arquette out of Oregon State? I've heard his name tossed around a little bit. Seems like a safer pick. Obviously, you're looking at a college bat at that point, plays some shortstop. Much less dynamic than a JJ Weatherholt type talent last year. But what do you think the Cardinals could do there?
Yeah, Arquette in a lot of ways is like different from JJ Weatherholt. Like the approach.
There's very few similarities there.
Like JJ Weatherholt probably had the best plate approach last year in terms of, or he was up there, at least in terms of the top crop of, the first round. His plate discipline was unbelievable. And Arquette is pretty much the antithesis of that. It's not a great approach at the plate. Although, I mean, I think it is improving from where it was in 2024. And, a lot more power potential than JJ, I would say. I think he elevates at a better rate than JJ. The exit velocities are a bit higher. And he's had a great year for Oregon State. I think he's one of my favorite position players on the college side this year.
Yeah, it's limited though, for sure. I mean, almost by default in some ways, just because there's so few college bats that are as intriguing as there are in other years. But
yeah, him and Laviolette, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure like if I would be willing to take those guys at slot value. I think that I'd want a little bit of a haircut for both of those guys. I think some of the high school names, if you can get around high slot value, I think that's fine. But yeah, I think that I don't have a great idea. I feel like this might be the year where I don't end up,
I mean,
predicting
Didn't you nail Jordan Walker? Did you get that one or no?
No.
You started the following season? Okay.
Or the year after that, McGreevy, I wrote down in my notes, but I never tweeted that. That doesn't count.
That's kind of crazy though. Getting because the Cardinals were drafting much farther out, so I feel like it was tough. That's insane.
Yeah, it wasn't as official as the past few years, but I wrote down a few names. I wrote down Joshua Baez as well.
That's nuts.
And they ended up picking him, but
yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome to see the Cardinals come out of this draft with a guy like Jack Bauer with their second pick, and maybe they end up with I don't think Hernandez is going to slip, but hey, if Ethan Holiday gets drafted before the Cardinals go, that's going to push another interesting talent down. I know people were talking about him potentially slipping past the Cardinals at some point. So that could be great. I'd love to see them go under slot for a guy like Arquette. That'd be really interesting to me. Or you get one of these good high schoolers and you go for it. Those are guys to dream on. Although it'd be nice to see the Cardinals add a more experienced college player just because the floor is so much higher. And, that guy might reach your big league club in 2 to 3 years instead of, 6, where you're looking at some of these high school guys where it takes a while. Probably not 6, but 5 plus.
To answer Samuel's question right here, like I said, like it wouldn't surprise me if they go with a college guy, but I think that the strength of this class, especially in the first round, is, the high schoolers. And if the Cardinals were to just go with best player available, I feel like that would end up being a high school guy, but they could obviously end up, saving some money with a college guy if they choose to go that direction.
Yeah. Oh man, do we see anything? Holiday slips to us. I think it's possible. Do you think if Holiday's available, the Cardinals just draft him, or do you think it's not quite so simple?
I think they pick him.
Really?
Yeah. I've thought about it, and I feel like if he does slip to 5, that would be their selection. But
yeah,
I haven't heard anything on that front. That's just pure speculation on my end, but I feel like they would pull the trigger if he did fall, but it doesn't even seem like he's going to make it to 5. So might never know.
I'd like to see him get drafted above that because I think it's going to be a tough decision for the Cardinals at that point. And I think there are players I'm more interested in. Part of me really because the Cardinals have had so much trouble developing premium pitching in recent years. I do want to see them go with a pitcher when you've got a pick like this. But at the same time, it feels like the system really does need position players more than it needs pitchers at the moment. Although with all the pitchers that are hurt, maybe you do need pitchers more. It's just tough to tell. The needs fluctuate so quickly, it seems. But I think that's going to do it for us. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to throw them in there. But we're bumping up against that hour point. Thank you so much for joining us today. Always a ton of fun to get some interaction with you guys. And remember, if you have questions, you can tweet them at me or Kareem, and we can see what we can do or work them into another episode at some point. But again, thanks for joining us today. A ton of fun. Always great to give out our Player of the Month awards, and we'll have those for you at the end of May. So we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in.